So we've got one last Crimson Desert preview. We've already looked at the combat, the open world. This time it focuses on the cozier side of things. The camp, the towns, the smaller systems that shape everything in between, the big story moments. It's not exactly the most important part of the game, but I'm glad they showed it because it helps round out the whole package.
It's a world where many of the smaller moments also shape your journey and make up your day-to-day life. In our final video of this feature series, we'll be taking a broader look at life in Pywel.
First, we got a quick look at the Greymane camp. We get to see how it evolves over time. You start off in a rough situation and gradually build it into something more established. I like when games do that. Having a physical space change as the story progresses makes everything feel more connected. It gives you somewhere that feels grounded, not just a menu hub you can fast travel to. Reminds me of a few games. Assassin's Creed Black Flag comes to mind. If I remember correctly, your island would change after certain missions. And well, since the Greymanes are central to the story, tying progression to the camp makes sense. This time they showed off cooking, farming, managing supplies, even running a ranch. All of these systems seem to feed into how you prepare before getting into the grittier parts of the game. Considering how intense the combat looked in earlier previews, that kind of preparation could matter a lot. But if those systems tie directly into how fights and exploration feel, they'll add depth. It just needs to flow naturally with everything else.
The camp is also the foothold for rebuilding the Greymane faction, and building it is the starting point in the journey.
You also get some companions along the way. It looks like you can dispatch them on missions across Pywel. If those missions feel connected to what's happening in the world, even in some small ways, I think it'll make the faction feel more like a real group of people, a more active part of the game. At the very least, it gives a sense that things are moving even when you're focused elsewhere.
Having your comrades complete these missions will grant you with currency and resources such as wood and ore and materials required for cooking and alchemy. Greymanes can also be dispatched to blockaded locations and help to whittle down enemy ranks even while you're in other parts of Pywel.
The towns still look detailed, with markets, vendors, blacksmiths, and NPCs moving all around. Visually, that part already looks strong. What I'm curious about is how it feels when you slow down and just exist in those spaces for a while. Are there conversations to overhear, or small encounters, some unexpected quests? I've been playing a bit of Space Marine 2 again. It just cracks me up when you hear the NPC convos. It really fleshes out the type of life all these characters have. That's usually what makes a world stick with you. Side quests, on the other hand, seem pretty grounded, with helping villagers, tracking people down, even clearing out some threats. A very familiar structure. The difference always comes down to execution. It looks like the writing and context will carry weight, and that will make some of those missions feel more worthwhile.
Good health to you. My words of praise must seem shallow.
There are residents here who are in need of someone to hear their requests. Some may need protection from bandits.
They also showed bits and pieces of a law system. Guards react to harmful actions, you can get fined and even jailed. Details like that give towns structure, they make the world feel like it has rules. Maybe I'm wrong, but giving that extra bit of interaction is always a good thing. Outside the cities, there are hidden settlements and some stranger locations scattered around. That's the kind of thing I'm always looking for in open world games, places you weren't expecting to find, or almost feel like you're not supposed to be there yet. Those discoveries usually end up being the most memorable parts.
Or engage in lighter diversions along the way. Just be mindful of the law. Harmful actions can turn residents and guards hostile, making travel more difficult as you're forced to fight your way through, pay fines, or even serve time in jail.
Crimson Desert has an extra little loop of fishing, alchemy, and mining. Nothing particularly new here. In a world this big, those systems are almost expected, really. As long as they complement exploration instead of interrupting it, they should help build immersion. Customization was also shown with lots of hairstyles, tattoos, and dyes. Nothing over the top so far that I've seen, but enough to give you some ownership over your character. Although, I think most of us always like having the possibility of creating the craziest sideshow freak looking characters ever. But we'll see what comes of it.
So experiment with the different color combinations available.
Overall, this preview makes the world feel more complete. We've already talked about combat and the open world itself. This fills in the day-to-day structure underneath that. And that structure is what usually determines how long you actually stay engaged. The fights can be great, and the visuals can be impressive, but the in-between moments are what carry most of our playtime. So, this didn't drastically change my expectations, it just adds a bit of extra context. The pieces are starting to feel like they really fit together. Now, it's just about how cohesive it feels once everything is in motion at the same time. With all that said, I'm curious what you think. Do these systems make the world more interesting to you, or are you mostly here for the combat and main story? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, remember to drop a like, it helps a lot more than you think. And if you're still following all the Crimson Desert updates with me, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one. Once again, appreciate you watching, and as always, have a great one.